Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming in. As always, this late of an hour. Not much is going on with the miners. There's no news coming from those guys at least. The only thing we have going on right now is a possible tension with IREN from the United States. Right, that's obviously driving Bitcoin price, or not Bitcoin price up, gold up, silver and oil prices have been going up on that. Bitcoin and some of the risk-on assets like the stocks have been coming down. Today was kind of a volatile day in the miners themselves. They were in the red in the beginning. They turned green, all of them. And then towards the end of the day, some were in the green, some were in the red. It was just a kind of weird day nonetheless. So we'll take a look at what's going on there. We'll take a look at some good news stories as well, possibly for Bitcoin and the Clarity Act. That might be getting close to getting finalized as well. Look at some positive news on IREN as well. And look into Q&A. Okay, so it should be pretty short and sweet here. Today I was struggling to find stuff to talk about here, but nonetheless, you guys know the drill. Full disclosure below that, as always. And if you would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin today was obviously down a little bit, 1.55%. We're back down to right around like the 66,000 range, 65,000 range. We got down to a low of today was 65,812. We finished out at 66,419. Markets, you can see we're all in the green though today, surprisingly enough, but still some of the risk on assets didn't fare too well today. They didn't do badly, like they weren't down 10% or anything like that, but they were still down. And they've been kind of going down here ever since, well, yesterday. Yesterday was the start of the week here for trading, and we've seen that continue on here. So Bitcoin was obviously down a little bit here. Ethereum was also down as well. It was down 1.8% there. Miners, like I said, somewhere in the green, somewhere in the red. Bitfarms was in the red here just a little bit. Bitdeer was actually in the positive side of things. Kanga was down. Cypher was down. Cleanspark was down. CORZ was up a little bit. Hive was flat. Hut 8 was up a little bit. IREN was up a little bit. I think this is based on, well, I think they got a price target increase. We'll talk about that in a second. Mara was down a little bit. Nibius was actually up 4.39. That one is starting to come back up here. It's now at the simple day moving average of 100 days. It's above that now. So that one's starting to come back up here a little bit. Riot was up 5.73. So that one did the best out of them all. Not much news. I mean, this thing was up at like 10%, 11% at one point. And then it came back down here. Maybe there's something going on with Riot. Not sure. But it's definitely some weird price action happening on that one. And then Wolf was down 4.94%. Bitcoin holding companies here were also mixed for the most part. We had MicroStrategy being down, Galaxy up, Block being up 5.49%. Coin was down. MetaPlanet was down 4.6%. Exodus was down. Nexon was up a little bit. Phoenix was up 18.77% here today. This one has some weird trading going on with that one. Game was up 2.62%. Small miners here today were also mixed, somewhere in the red, somewhere in the green there. Mawson was up 5.9%, beat out the rest there. Bitcoin ETF or miner ETFs here were also mixed, somewhere in the red, somewhere in the green. Going down here, Ethereum holding companies here were pretty much in the red here, except for BTCS. That one was up 3.29%. And then other things that we track here, American Bitcoin continues to fall here. That one's down to $1.04. Market cap still is around 900 million on that one. It is, I mean, this thing is down like 98% from its high of $14.65. It's down a lot. It's been beaten down. Possibly rightfully so, possibly not. I mean, depending on how you view it. And then let's see, Wi-Fi was down 5.27% also. Open was up 6.93%. That one had a nice day today. Oracle was up a little bit, 1.43%. Soluna was up a little bit as well. Bakkt was up. AST was actually down. Fermi was down. Meta was up. Google was up. Amazon was up. Microsoft up. Nvidia up. Tesla was even up. EOS was up a little bit. And then New AI was up quite nicely here. Kind of regaining some of the loss that it had yesterday. Bitcoin for the month of February, down 15.23%. Not looking great for us here right now unless we get a nice bounce going into the end of the month here, which I'm not expecting here. I'm guessing we're probably going to end up the month of February in the red here, just based on what we're seeing here as far as price action here. Everything else, we'll see if we, I mean, it would be wonderful if we squeaked out a green month in February, but you know, not many days left in this month to figure that out. The Bitcoin ETFs here, inflows, outflows, we had outflows yesterday of 104.9 million. A lot of that was based on IBIT, BlackRock, 119 million there. Today we're also down 49 million without IBIT reporting. I'm guessing we're going to be probably similar to that of yesterday, if not a little bit more on it. And then getting into some of the news stories that we do have here. We talked about this in the beginning a little bit, right? Breaking oil, gold, and silver are moving higher as geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and Iran escalate. Gold is up 1.61%, silver up 4.3%, oil is up 2.66%. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is down 1% today as risk on assets are selling off here, and you can see that. Yeah, anytime we have tensions or anything like that where military action could be used, and that's why I posted the poll there for you guys. Just wanted to see what you guys thought if the United States was going to use military action against Iran. Right now, 67% of you guys are thinking that it might. So there might be something to this. Hopefully it's one of those things where it's just shock and awe and out you go, right? Don't want anything that's going to be prolonged on that one. Bottom signals are flashing on for Bitcoin here. So cost of production, the power law, 200 DMA, liquidity. Still people believe in bear market fractals and want to buy below 40,000. What could possibly go wrong, right? You never know, right? Right now, if you look at this, the BTC 200 DMA quantiles, we can see that we are definitely way in the historic bottoms here in the gray area. We've been there before as well at times, and we've bounced off of that. So maybe we are at the bottom, maybe we are not. If you have a crystal ball, let me know. But I think we're at the bottom here. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that might be the case here. Next here, Brian Armstrong says market structure is making great progress. We are closing in on a win-win-win scenario. Progress on regulatory framework is accelerating the target. A win for crypto, a win for banks, and a win for obviously the American consumer there as well. The gap between Wall Street and DeFi is officially closing. There's a couple of things that they're still having obviously contention on. Hopefully those things get worked out in the next couple of days. I think they're having another meeting with the White House there, the banks and the crypto sector are meeting tomorrow. So hopefully that gets resolved, whatever those sticking points are. Get it done and over with, right? Make it so it's everybody can be happy here. Obviously, as much as I would like to see the banks lose on this, the banks do serve a purpose. We do need them around. So I think a win-win for everybody would be a good thing there. Next here, we have the FOMC meeting minutes came out today. So the minutes confirm rate cuts are coming. Several officials said rate cuts would likely be appropriate if inflation keeps declining there. Most participants warned this inflation progress could slow while economic activity outlook remains stronger than expected there. Right? If we look at true inflation here, true inflation is showing that we had 0.87% inflation, while the U.S. government reported 2.4%. Who's right? Who's wrong? I mean, you be the judge of that. A lot of people are obviously giving this a lot of weight for true inflation, or trueflation as they call it. And this might be a better metric potentially to see where inflation is. I don't know, right? It does seem like the Fed is a little bit behind the ball on things. So if this continues on and inflation continues to fall, then yeah, I think we might see some definitely rate cuts happening here, which would be good for risk on assets at that point. Then we got a couple of good news stories here on IREN here. IREN has become Cantor Fitzgerald's fourth largest holding, surpassing ABGO, Oracle, and BMNR. Cantor Fitzgerald, here you can see NVIDIA, IREN, right, what they own there on that. So that's great to see, right? Corporations, institutions are buying into these guys here, which is lovely to see. I love seeing that. And they also gave Cantor Fitzgerald a price target of $82. We're obviously about 50% away from that right now as it is. So we need basically a 2x to get to that point, again, roughly. So there'll be a nice increase in the price for IREN there. I would be happy with that. I'd like to also see IREN get to above $100. That would be even better. Excuse me. And I think that is still possible as they build out their sites, Clearwater 1 and 2, bring in more GPUs for themselves, bring in more customers. All of that stuff was obviously going to help the stock go up higher at that point. And then another one here on IREN here as well, upgraded by B. Riley there. This morning, B. Riley raised their IREN price target to $83 from $74 and maintain a buy rating on the shares. So that's great news as well. If you're in IREN right now, I would say hold, not financial advice, but I would say hold. And if you're not in IREN, you may want to start looking into it and start maybe dabbling into it as well, buying the dips on it as time progresses here. Could we go lower? Yes, we could absolutely go lower. There's nothing that prevents us from going lower. The market is what the market is. The big guys are in control. We are just in it for the ride, right? Wherever we go, we go. But if we're smart, we can definitely buy in at the lower price points, dollar cost average in, do it that way. And if you're really, really good at trading, you can obviously run the ups and downs You can trade those. You can do other things. It's all up to you at that point. But I think based on what they have as far as megawatts potential going forward and everything else that they've been doing really great job at to the last, I would say, a couple of years here, this thing should go up higher as things maybe change in the markets. You know, right? Trump said the markets should be doing really well. The markets are doing pretty good here, but some of the stocks here are not doing that great. They're still up nicely from where they were just last year, but still, we'd definitely like to see them go up better than that point. At Bitcoin, same thing, right? We know that Trump and Trump's family is all in on Bitcoin, and I'm getting tired of winning here on that one. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to get into too deep on it. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm still working on, obviously, getting the Niveus data in. I should have that done by the end of the week here, I think. With all the last 8 quarters, I'm trying to pull in for them and doing a deep dive on them. We'll either get into it on Friday. If I don't get it done by Friday, we'll get into it on Sunday at that point. We'll dive into it at that. But that's it. That's all I got. Not much news is happening here right now as it is, other than the tension between the United States and Iran right now. Okay, that's obviously having an impact on the markets as always. Could be, I think it's mostly like the algos. The algos are just driving this stuff more than anything nowadays. It's whatever the news is, whatever the trending topic is, they drive off of that and react to it. Maybe quicker than they probably should, but that's just my take. All right, let's get into Q&A here. So if you guys have anything to say, we'll call it a day. If not, and I'll wish you guys a good night at that point if we're done. But let's see what we got going on here as far as questions and stuff. All right, let's see. Morton's got a question here. Are any of the mines profitable at the current Bitcoin price range? I would say no. Even IREN is struggling right now, but IREN was for other reasons as well. I think they would be very close to like breaking even right now as it is, with all the other expenses that go into it, all that stuff. Right now, I would say no, right? If you look at I would just say this, if you look at their cost to mine Bitcoin, they're still profitable, but when you include everything else, SG&A, other expenses on top of it as well, and possibly stock-based compensation, depreciation, then I would say no. All right. Neil says, Play Market says the Clarity Act now has a 70% chance of passing before April. I saw that it jumped to like 90%, and it came back down to like 70%. It was at like 60%, so that is actually pretty good there. Let's see, Neil asks, do you know the average mining cost for Bitcoin? It depends on the miner, their fleet efficiency, their cost per megawatt as well, or kilowatt. And we can kind of look at what it is for everybody here as well, at least the ones that have reported their quarterly results here. Not everybody has reported those from last quarter, but let me see if I can pull that up here right now. Let's see here. I think Bitfarms, let's see, BitTBT reported, right? BitTBT reported, let's see, Q4 2025, so we can look at that one. That one came in at, let's see, browser, 52.7 thousand there. I think Bitfarms also reported. I don't know if I have Bitfarms price here because they stopped reporting updates, but let me see, what do I have them at? I have them at, where is it at? I don't have it. Book value, debt to equity, cost to mine Bitcoin. I don't have it for them. Kango, let's see if Kango reported as well. I still got Q3 2025. They haven't reported. Cypher, Q3, don't have that one. Cleanspark has reported, right? They reported they are at, let's see, they're at 52,000. CORZ Scientific hasn't reported. Hive has reported. Hive is at 65,000 right now. Hut 8 hasn't reported, I don't believe. IREN has reported, but I'm not sure if I have the cost to mine Bitcoin for them as well because they're not providing any updates anymore. I do have it. Theirs came in at 38,000 actually, looks like, for their Q2, which was our Q4. Mara has not reported. Nibius obviously doesn't do it. Riot, let's see if Riot has reported. Riot has not reported yet. And TeraWolf, I don't believe has either yet. Q3 is the last one that I have for them. Yeah, so only a couple have reported. So that's kind of where they're at right now. I want to go here. Okay, talked about that one. Let's see. Morton, this cycle is all Trump. Bitcoin can't get going with something happening all the time. It never really ends. Tariffs, Iran, China, Canada, Epstein, Iran. Yeah, it's Yeah, it's one thing after another with it. I agree with you there. I voted for Trump. There's some things that I like about that he has done, some things that I don't like. But that's with everybody, right? Regardless who's president, you're not going to like everybody, the 100% of the things that they do, right? There's always going to be something that you may not fall in line with, you may not like, things like that. And that's all fair and square, right? That's just the way I look at it. There's, like I said, some things that I like, some things that I don't like. This stuff with all this back and forth and not having, I guess you could say, peace, stability, clarity, is a big thing that's obviously driving some of the stuff that's happening in the markets as well. Neil says, yes, banks serve the purpose of stealing taxpayer money for bailouts. I mean, that was the government, right? The government bailed them out. I think when that happened in 2008, some of these things should have went belly up. But, yeah. We also had the government bail out the automotive sector as well. So, I mean, they say that there's some sectors that are too big to fail. I don't know. Sometimes I think they need to be washed out and cleansed. Daryl, question: would you consider it a negative like Hive that Bitdeer is not from the U.S. and is from Singapore? Yes, that's one of the things I've always said about Bitdeer, right? Not being in the United States, being Singapore, having possible ties to China as well. That was always a negative that I've talked about there on that. The growth and everything else that they've been doing, their own ASICs, has been fantastic. They've done a fantastic job. That's one of the things I said back in 2025, that a lot of their growth is going to be happening in, I said that before that. A lot of their growth was going to be happening in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 here, and we are definitely seeing that as well. All right. Adam says, thanks for putting out every day you can. I appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes, nothing happens. It's like, okay, I'm scratching my head, like, what do I talk about? So I try to find at least something useful, something that I find interesting. If you guys actually find it interesting as well, that's fantastic. I love that. Joe says, question: do you really think the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald is really in the know? LOL. I would think so. I mean, a lot of those guys, yeah, I would think so. HKMP, is IRE 2x leverage ETF on IREN a good buy? I don't know where that's at right now as far as pricing is concerned. I don't track those things, not really interested in them. Any leverage plays, I just buy the stocks on it. If it's low right now and you think that IREN can go a 2x on it, then you're going to make 4x on it, right? In that time frame. If you want to gamble a little bit more, I guess that's one way to play it. But it's not that, I'm not interested in that. Rob says, excuse me, Seb, was Hive's earnings yesterday a bad one? I noticed Hive's share price dropped. There was some good on it. There was obviously some bad on it as well. We talked about it yesterday. The good was obviously the growth that they've been seeing here the past year. That's been great. They're also attracting more AI compute business, which is good. So we're seeing that. The bad part of it was that they're still battling the Sweden VAT tax, which could be like $70 some million. Might leave them on the hook for that. So that was pretty bad there. What else was on the bad side of things? Cash flow, I think, was high, so they're decreasing on the cash side of things. That wasn't great, but that is what it is. All right, Adam, question: IREN price target in 2 years based on HPCI alone and their current growth rate. I mean, they're targeting 3.4 billion annual run rate by the end of this year. That's huge growth there for them if they can do that. I mean, based on that, the price target alone should be above $100 on that if they can reach it. And if they grow even more on top of it, we don't know how much they're going to grow. We can only think, we can speculate. I'm not sure. But if they grow at least, another billion or 2 billion on top of that, we could definitely see the stock price, north of $150, depending on how much they dilute. Hopefully they don't dilute too crazily. Hopefully they can do it all with the Bitcoin mining that they have right now and then the revenue that they're generating from AI as well, and maybe do some convertible notes or something like that. But yeah, hard to tell where they're going to be in 2 years. But they're going to have obviously a heck of a lot of megawatts. Clearwater, one site was 1.4 gigawatts. That should be online, or at least energized in April, I think, this year. And then they could obviously build out at that point. And then Clearwater 2, I believe, is in 2027, I believe, for energization as well. All right. See, Neil, being I am a GM retiree, I like the auto bailout. Yeah, So there's some good things. Obviously, it kept a lot of jobs. It didn't also only help GM. It helped Ford. It helped Tesla as well, right? Tesla got a loan. Tesla was actually able to pay that off early and with the interest there. So it definitely helped out those places. And that was no fault of GM, I would think. When that happened back in 2008, 2009, that was mostly on the bank side of things. The banks just wrecked the economy at that point, getting too greedy on everything that they were doing. But yeah, so some things, I agree with you. Some things are good to save. All right, Neil asks, how do you think IREN war could affect crypto? If it's a strike and out, I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. I think if it's a prolonged thing where we're doing it for a number of days, weeks, months, then I'm guessing things are going to go down on Bitcoin at that point. Victor, are we expecting good earnings for Cypher on the 24th of February? I'm not expecting no. Mainly because, one, we know obviously Bitcoin prices come down. Network hash rate has gone up, so difficulty has also gone up, but it's come down a little bit here recently. And I don't believe that they're generating any revenue from their AI customer yet. So I'll be surprised if they are, but I don't believe that's the case. So I don't expect good things here for my Cypher either. Neil says, yes, you sound better today, Seb. Thank you. Yeah, allergies, right? Allergies kick in and kick my butt sometimes. Sadie, thank you so much for the thumbs up there. Daryl, thank you so much for the generous tip there. Thanks again for all your hard work. You're very welcome, and thank you. YN, could you compare what is today's SG&A percentage of revenue of each of these companies? Some of these guys have now reported. We've only had a couple that have reported here, and I didn't do that at that time. Excuse me. We can go through it really quick. There's only a couple that have reported. Obviously, the quarterly results for Q4. I'm going to go here. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Bitdeer reported. Bitdeer, let's see if I have their numbers as well. Bitdeer SG&A is 13.61% there, it looks like, of the revenues. For the fiscal year 2025. Q4 was 12.8%. So that's actually pretty good. I'd like to see that get below 10% though for a lot of these guys here. Q3 for Bitfarms, so they haven't reported. Kango hasn't reported either yet, right? If I'm not mistaken, Q3. Yep. Cypher's going to be reporting. Cleanspark has reported. Cleanspark is at, let's see, where is it at? General administrative, 21.65%. That's compensation plus payroll. If we look at just general administrative expense, that's at 8.52%. So that's actually come up from 6.87. So it's still really good. I like seeing that below 10% for them. Core hasn't reported. Hive has reported here. Let's see what Hive came in at. Hive has been general administrative compensation 16.59%. That's up a little bit from the prior quarter, but still not too bad. Still would like to see that below 10. Hot 8 hasn't reported. IREN has reported here. IREN, where's it at? IREN is stock-based compensation of revenue. Let's see here. Stock-based compensation. I didn't write down the compensation there. Stock-based minus stock-based compensation. 54. It was 54%, but I haven't taken out the stock-based compensation, which I think was like 50 some odd million of that, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think it was like 50 some odd million there. So it'd be like around 25%, something like that for them at this point. Right now, we know that they've been on a hiring spree as it is to build out their sites there. Let's see, Riot. I don't think Riot has reported. Yeah, Riot's Q3. TeraWolf. Let's see if they reported Q3. Yeah, they haven't reported. So that's all I have right now. The other data is going back to, obviously, all the way back to Q3. Okay, going back here. Okay, talked about that one. The CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald is Howard Lutnick. I was being sarcastic. Okay. Yeah, he might know something. Morton says, Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, ran Cantor just a year ago. His sons are part of the Cantor management team. Yeah. Rob Seb, in regards to AI HPC data centers, what metrics are we looking at for good earnings? Obviously, revenue ramp up. We need to see that. Cypher's building stuff out right now. TeraWolf is building stuff out. Hut 8 is building stuff out. Who else is building out? Riot is building out a small thing as well. We need to start seeing those revenues come in, and then that should help out there. The thing we're going to be looking at on the revenue side of things, I mean the current it's not really bad. It's the timeline, at least, or the time frame right now. They're going to be spending a lot of their capital or the revenue that they're getting in to build out these data centers, right? So it's a one-time CapEx expense, basically. Once you build out the data center, it's going to be good for probably, 40, 50 years, maybe more than that, right, if all things go well. So it's a one-time expense that they're taking on right now to do these kind of deals. Later on, especially in like IREN's case, I think it's a 5-year deal with Microsoft. And then after that, they own, obviously, the data center. They own the GPUs as well. Then they start really, that's when they really start making money on top of it. But, right, that's kind of one of the things is you got to build it in order to get it. And to build it, it's going to cost money. But after that, once you build it, you have it. It's yours. So it's one of those upfront costs, I guess, to do it. All right. Okay, I think that's it. We've come to all the questions here. We are at 68% on the poll here as far as whether or not the United States is going to use military action against Iran. We'll see if that actually plays out or if it's one of those things that they're going to squeeze them right now, right? That's one of the things that Trump does. He goes to, volume goes to 10, he goes to like 20 on some of his rhetoric and things like that. It was the same thing with, Greenland, right? Tried getting Greenland. So he's like, we're just going to go in, we're going to buy it, or we're going to go in with military force. He goes to the max worst case scenario, basically, on any of these things, right? And then things get pulled back down afterwards when they actually start dealing and things like that. So maybe this is one of those things where it's just max optics that they would maybe do something to Iran, and then that maybe gets Iran to negotiate on the nuclear stuff that they got going on there. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Wyan has got a question here. What is the sense of having Mara and Kango at 120% and 180% HODL market cap? Literally, buying Kango is like buying BTC at half price, but I'm afraid I'm missing something. So with these guys, Kango has sold a large portion of their Bitcoin here recently to pay off some debt and have some cash for HPCI business that they want to get into. But the thing that we're seeing here, at least recently in the last, I would say probably a year and a half to 2 years, maybe even, is the companies that own a lot of Bitcoin, that have a HODL position, especially the Bitcoin miners, are not getting a premium for that. In the case of Mara also bought Bitcoin here recently in the past year, right? They bought like 20-some thousand Bitcoin, I think it was. And they took out debt for that, convertible notes. So they have a line item of debt that is going to have to become due here in 2030, 2031, I believe, that they're going to have to pay for, right? One way or another. So I think you got to take that out of it as well. When did they buy it? What was the price on it, right? So there's other things that go into it. I'm not a big fan of companies buying it when they're actually mining it. And I'm also not a big fan of, like Mara historically has held on to the Bitcoin diluted shareholders in order to do so. Not a big fan of that either. I think you should sell some at certain points. I think you can HODL at certain points as well, but I think there's a pretty good mix of both, right? You can HODL and sell as well, right? But diluting shareholders to do it is not that great. What else we got here? John says PC economic data on Friday, 7:30 a.m. hopefully shows a decline. Okay, that would be possibly good there. And then Rob says, Seb, you missed my second question. I did. Let's see, Rob, where you at, Rob? Let me see if I missed it. It did not show up. All I see is the one about Hive here from you, Rob. That's the only one that I'm seeing there. So if you put in something that YouTube didn't like, it didn't show it to me. All right, Charlie says, Clarity Act could be the catalyst to end the winter. Yeah, I agree there. That could be the catalyst that actually starts Bitcoin rally back up here. We've heard from a number of people saying that a lot of the institutions, banks are waiting for that to get done. When it does get done, maybe that's going to be the time we take off. Maybe, right? We don't know for sure, but it would be nice to see that. Okay, Rob asks, are they making revenue from fees to the hyperscalers? From fees to the hyperscalers? You mean, are they making revenue? So I don't think anybody's making any, well, except for maybe Turo. Turo's making some revenues there. On the fees, I'm not sure what you mean by fees. Is it just regular fees that they're charging him for the data centers? yeah, they're going to be definitely making money on that going forward. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, we'll call it a day. Kind of nice and short today. Yeah, we're going 30 minutes, half an hour. It's not too bad. All right, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day, Thursday, right? Eventually, I think we'll get out of this kind of slump that we're in Bitcoin and the miners here. We've been through it before. We'll get out of it again. Not sure what's going to pump it, but it could be the Clarity Act, could be something else, could be just peace and stability in the markets from Trump, maybe. Because right now, he's not doing himself or the party there any good by having all this stuff going on. Just my take, my thoughts. Could be wrong. But we'll get into it. Whatever happens tomorrow, we'll cover it at that point. Again, as always, thank you so much for coming in at this late of an hour. Nonetheless, love you all. I hope you guys have a great Thursday tomorrow. And we'll talk about it, whatever happens tomorrow at that point. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much again. And I'll see you then.